back in the 1800s, i.e. the League and the FA Cup in the same season. It is an FA Cup tie here that very much has the hand of history on its shoulder. The tracksuit tops are off. What a great sight that was, wasn't it? You know, plain tracksuit tops.
It certainly was.
It ticked the box for me.
Yeah, it was. It's as I keep saying, it's a proper cup tie. That the players now, it's time for business. The tracksuit tops are off. I think the captains have changed ends, so the Preston supporters are going to come away to our left in front of the Villa end, and the Aston Villa players are going to come away to our right, and we're going to get the game underway.
We are. Great having you with us, Alex. First time you and I have commentated on a match together. Alex,
good to be here.
Premier League defender, FA Cup finalist, coach at Salford City, come all the way back from Bromley last night.
Yeah, and the wife and my mother weren't too happy when I got back last night to say I'm going to come and do the commentary with you guys, I have to say, but I'm delighted to be here.
However, I think the flowers have been delivered.
I'll have to give it them later.
So it is Preston against Aston Villa. Preston, who've lost their goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman. They've got a whole list of players unavailable for this, and to lose Freddie Woodman, a real blow. So David Cornell, prefers to be called Di, fair-haired, just touching the crossbar of his goal to our left, and they're going to play the ball all the way back to him from kick-off to make sure he gets an early touch, which he does, and strikes it right-footed downfield. He's got experience, great experience, 34 years old on Friday, but it's only his third appearance of this season, just his second start, and he'll be feeling the nerves despite that age and experience. So Cornell in goal, Hughes, Gibson and Story, the three central defenders for Preston, Megoma on loan from Brentford, and Brady as the wing backs, captain Ben Whiteman, Freuker, Tordarson, Rees and Keane, and Osmajic, the club top scorer, is available. He's on the bench. He's been out with a hip injury before the international window, but he is among the substitutes. And Villa going very strong. Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa, Mings and Digne, Camara, Tielemans, Ramsey, Asensio, Rashford and Rodgers. And it is Preston who are on the attack, but the ball just bounces all the way through off Rees as he tried to flick it past Mings behind for a goal kick to Villa. 0-0 in the second minute.
Well, the question we asked before the game, John, where's Marcus Rashford's going to play? It's very evident he's going to play as the number 9. He's up there as the lone striker with Ramsey to the left. So there's that question answered. It's a big opportunity for Marcus to show what he can do as an out-and-out centre forward, that number 9.
Yes, and also Asensio effectively playing as the number 10, and Rodgers towards the right-hand side. So we're going to have a look at Marcus Rashford, newly back in the England team. It's given away by Digne. Oh, challenge on Keane. Keane goes down. I'm not sure how much contact there was from Mings on Keane, and I have to say he's not making a great deal of that. But that was careless. That was a nervy moment from Villa in the early stages. Digne giving it away.
It was a great start from Preston. They nicked the ball back in the middle of the pitch, burst into the box, and it was Will Keane who felt the contact from Tyrone Mings. I don't think there was enough, John. No. I think the referee got it spot on.
And the referee is Chris Kavanagh, we should point out. There is VAR as well, but not. There is VAR, but not semi-automated offside. And we will have the announcements again. This trial continues, so if something happens and the referee is called to the side of the pitch, there will be an in-stadium announcement, but no need for it there. And that early little alarm for Aston Villa has come to nothing. We've still got lots of balloons, whether they be blue and white of Preston or whether they be claret and blue. There's a yellow one down there as well. I don't know where that's come from, but the ball is played back into the Villa half. Maybe that's a little bit of support for Di Cornell, who is playing in a sort of off-yellow colour. Villa coming forward. Camera now down the right-hand side. The cross comes in, but a stretch and away for Preston. Not completely away as it's taken down by Morgan Rodgers. I interviewed him in the tunnel at Wembley on Monday night. Morgan Rodgers, who I must say was thrilled to bits, having started for England for the first time, and I think we saw some real indications of Thomas Tuchel's confidence in him. Came on against Albania and started against Latvia, and I thought did pretty well. Could have scored.
He did. He's that constant threat, and you've seen a couple of times in this opening stages of the game where he's looking to make them forward runs from midfield. We've seen it over the course of the season, how dangerous he is from that position. just looking, John, at the way Preston have set up, it's pretty obvious that they're going to try and frustrate Aston Villa with the back five, with Robbie Brady out here on this right hand side as right wing back, who drops in when they're in the defensive situations. The back five, the midfield three narrow in front with the two outlets up top, with Will Keane and Emil Rice as the focal point leading the line for Preston.
Yes, Magoma on the left hand side and Brady on the right as the wing backs. You probably heard the players, just while we had a stoppage there, a throw in, the players probably instructed by the referee to get these balloons popped, and I think they've got about half of them. There are probably about 10 still bobbing around. It is a breezy afternoon, bright and breezy in the springtime tradition. Sun is shining strongly down on Deepdale as we speak now, the distinctive Deepdale with its 4 tall rectangular white floodlight pylons. They have got the floodlights on actually, despite the early afternoon kick-off. 4 minutes played, BBC Radio 5 Live, FA Cup quarter-final number 3. Later on we'll hear what happens in the Bournemouth-Manchester City tie. We'll keep you updated on that, but this is on BBC One as well if you are heading home, if you've been out for Mother's Day lunch. This match is on BBC One. Tielemans playing the ball over the top for Aston Villa. Digne takes it down, but then gets the cross all wrong on the half volley and immediately apologises to his teammates in the middle, slightly disorientated.
Yeah, it was. That's a couple of mistakes Aston Villa have made in the opening 5 minutes of the game. One which obviously led to the possible penalty decision. They've put one out of play on the far side, and that was a good opportunity for them. Digne making the run down the left-hand side, got himself in a good position to put it across the box. But from an Aston Villa point of view, they'll be disappointed because he's put it straight behind the goal. Just to our left here, Alex, producer Gary has got the pictures up, and the feeling was with Will Keane's the suggestion that might have been a penalty, that he invited the contact from Tyrone Mings. Yeah, it looked a little soft. I think the referee got it spot on. Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. Throw in for Preston. Brady is going to take this. The very experienced Robbie Brady started both of the Republic of Ireland matches against Bulgaria, the Nations League playoff. In fact, he's going to leave this for Rees to take it. So Rees has moved right up against the hoardings. The number 9, the tall number 9 for Preston. A long throw. Martinez comes and catches that in the most unflappable style possible. And then as he underarms it out, he's claiming that Keane has put his foot in the way. The ball's been lifted into the net by Tordarson, but the whistle had long gone. Free kick for Villa. It's a hell of a weapon that, wasn't it, from Emil Rice? It was a really long throw that he put in the box. From a centre-half's point of view, what a wonderful thing when your keeper comes and collects it early doors the way Martinez does. I wasn't necessarily sure that Will Keane did anything wrong there, but the referee Kavanagh immediately blew the whistle. He sort of underarmed it out, and I thought he threw it into Keane, but the referee feels that Keane had put a foot up as he did that. But it is Matty Cash now for Aston Villa as Villa play towards their supporters. So from right to left as we look from the dressing room side of the ground, here's Tielemans. Villa at the start of this exceptionally busy period. However, they have just had a long break. And now Ramsey, ball into the penalty area, rattles around inside the Preston box. Thought that was a foul which is given for Morgan Rogers' challenge on the edge of the 6-yard box. Free kick to Preston inside their own area, 0-0. Good defending from Jordan Storey, the right-sided centre-half for Preston. He threw his head in there where it really hurt. The referees gave the free kick, but a good start to the game for him. That'll settle his nerves, no problem. Yeah, so Cornell is going to take this. And for anyone who wasn't listening earlier, that is the news that Freddie Woodman injured an ankle in the gym this week. Preston's regular goalkeeper, the England under-21 international. So he is out, and indeed will not play again this season when he's out of contract at the end of the season. But also James Pradich, the third choice goalkeeper, also injured this week with a knee problem. So Lee Bow Stowell is the substitute goalkeeper, never played for the team, the senior team. Jacob Ramsey carrying the ball through the middle, and he's judged to have been impeded by Tordarson. Around about 25 yards from goal, sort of shoulder to shoulder, nudged him over. Alex, free kick to Villa. Yeah, it was a good run from Jacob Ramsey. He's burst forward through midfield. He's got himself in a good position just before he's about to find a pass. He gets brought down, and Aston Villa have got a free kick now. I'd say probably about 30 yards out. Marcus Rashford's over the ball. We know how dangerous he can be from these positions. Tielemans as well, and Digne. They've got a few options around there.
They certainly have. So it is just slightly left of centre for Aston Villa. Aston Villa in the quarter-finals for the first time since they last made it all the way to the FA Cup final itself, but that was 10 years ago. Rashford just standing to the left of the ball. Digne is there as well. Matty Cash has just come across from the right-hand side with some instructions.
Good chance to ask something of the goalkeeper, John, in these early stages. If he hits the target.
I think that might well have come. I think there may well have been instructions from Austin McPhee on the far side of the ground. It's Rashford who's going to take it, right-footed from 25 yards and straight at Cornell, who was able to drop forward and scoop it up on the half volley. I think they wanted to have a go at Cornell, but the delivery wasn't there from Rashford.
First job done for Cornell. Obviously he'll be pleased to get the first save away. It was an easy one for him, but that should calm his nerves as well.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford, who started both of the England matches, which again I think gave you an idea of what Thomas Tuchel wanted to see. I thought he did okay. Mings with a long pass. Rodgers, there's no offside flag yet. Rodgers' ball across is intercepted on the edge of the 6-yard box by Hughes, sliding back in, put it into the Villa supporters. First corner of the match to Villa.
Yeah, the left back Magoma just switched off, which allows the switch of play for Aston Villa. They broke down the right hand side, crossed the ball into the 6-yard box. Preston defended it well, and we have an Aston Villa corner on the far side.
This is 5 Live from the BBC. If you're on the move on this lovely Sunday afternoon, or at least it is here in the northwest of England, in the heart of Lancashire, then you can listen on BBC Sounds as well if you're taking the dog out for a walk, whatever you might be doing. It's a corner to Aston Villa that actually is going to be left to Rashford, who's gone all the way across there to take it. Then Digne's cross, slightly deflected. Thought it was going to run and fall to Asensio at the back post, the very much informed Asensio, but Preston just cleared, and now Reece is in a chase with Cash, but as Cash took the touch, I think he felt either a touch, a little clip from the foot of Reece, or maybe a hand in his back. He went sprawling, and referee Kavanagh, much to the outrage of the Preston North End supporters in the Tom Finney stand in front of us, free kick given to Villa.
Yeah, really good defending from Matty Cash. He showed all of his experience, and where he's had the ball played down the side of him. He was well switched on, concentration levels were perfect, and he swept up really well there when Reece tried to get down the outside of him.
Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. Preston, the last non-Premier League club left in the FA Cup this season, so very much the underdogs, particularly with all of the players that they're missing for this game as the ball played forward, but Brady was in an offside position, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa. Amongst those who can't play today, Kane Kesler-Hayden, who's been one of the best players, I'm told, for Preston this season, but he's on loan from Villa, so obviously can't play. Although he says in the programme today, don't know whether you read it, Alex, Kesler-Hayden says, when the draw was made, I was absolutely buzzing until I found out I wasn't going to be able to play in the match.
I think that was well done from whoever did the paperwork from an Aston Villa point of view. That's the one thing they wouldn't want, egg on the face from their own players scoring and knocking them out the cup. Can you imagine? Exactly
so. But there are suspensions as well. Sam Greenwood is suspended after he was sent off, and actually as well Ledson can't play in this match, and that's an FA Cup suspension, so that's 2 yellow cards in the FA Cup, as well as and Porteous as well, cup side. So all manner of players, never mind just Woodman. Camara trying to win it back for Villa in the central third of the field, comes forward to Rodgers, who plays it forward for Rashford to make a run down into the left back position, and his cross is blocked. Defender went with him, bounces behind. It's another corner to Villa from the right hand side, and it's a tricky one today. I'm surprised that Villa took the first corner short. The wind is swirling around inside the stadium, and you've got a goalkeeper who hasn't played very much.
Yeah, I was as well, John. The first one where they played it short when Marcus went out to take it. This time Asensio's gone out there. It wouldn't surprise me if he takes it with his left foot and he swings this right under the crossbar. Keep asking questions of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and he's not the tallest, is he, Cornell? I would say maybe 6'1". In comes the corner. That's headed up and away though for Preston by Keane. Comes back in for the Konsa, couldn't get his head on it, edge of the 6-yard box, and he holds his head there he tried to glance at it. It was whipped in just above his head, but I'm not sure he got any touch on it at all. And it was all the way beyond the far post for a goal kick.
I think he knows he has to do better. It's a great ball in from that right hand side from Asensio. He whips it right across the 18-yard box with his left foot, and you think Konsa just has to make contact. He gets away from his man, he just has to hit the target, but he's not made enough contact, and he puts it just wide of the post.
Yeah, if there was contact, it was very slight. So Preston 0, Aston Villa 0 with 13 minutes on the clock. Mings playing the ball back to goalkeeper Martinez in the shadows of the Alan Kelly stand. Behind him, the shadows reaching just about the edge of his penalty area. The rest of the pitch here at Deepdale absolutely splashed in spring sunshine. Here's Morgan Rogers as Villa come forward again. Before their recent break, they won 4 matches in a row, and the last time they played came through in the second leg of the Champions League to set up that tie against PSG. That is coming up. Here's Digne, left side of the area. Digne then back to the edge of the box to Ramsey, who scored in the first minute, remember, in the FA Cup tie against Tottenham. This is the first time Villa have played away from home in the FA Cup this season. First time they have been drawn away from Villa Park, and actually Preston, all 4 rounds they have been drawn at home. Throwing on the left hand side that Digne is going to take. Marcus Rashford's got a pair of black gloves on. As I say, there is that little chill in the air. Throw in to Rashford, who tries to flick it on, then headed back by Asensio to Digne. Robbie Brady's able to get himself in between the Villa man and the ball, and then it's played back for the ball to be cleared towards the halfway line, where it's headed infield by Rees, but Villa are back in possession. Tielemans, who's had such a good season for Villa, pushing for a place in the Champions League next season, but also Champions League business still to come. Those 2 matches against PSG, you'll hear both of them, by the way, on 5 Live, as well as the Arsenal-Real Madrid tie. Villa lose possession, and so it's taken forward by Freuke. Then the pass forward. Magoma went sprawling down as he was challenged. Freuke had played the ball forward. Magoma was trying to get there, running between them. It was Camera, I think. There was contact, he went down, wanted the free kick. Referee Kavanagh not interested. Yeah,
I think Freuke just put too much on the pass, didn't he? He passed it out of play, and I think the ball was away from him before he could get it. I think the referee got it right. I think Villa are just starting to turn the screw a little bit in the game. They're winning that midfield battle in these opening stages of the game. They're picking up a lot of second balls. They've got a 1-man advantage in the middle of the pitch, and there just seems to be picking everything up in there. If Preston are going to get hold of this game, they need to get hold of that battle in midfield.
However, they've got through the first 15 minutes. Preston who not lost in their last 15 home matches, it should be underlined. Villa though playing it through the middle, but the offside flag was up. It's played forward centrally by Asensio, but the flag was up, and Preston have a free kick halfway inside their own half. Usually tight matches here. I was listening to Ben Whiteman, was on 5 Live Sport on Friday night, and while their home record is very good, they are one of the draw specialists in the Championship this season. 10 of the 19 home league matches have ended in draws, and when Arsenal came here in the Carabao Cup before Christmas in the autumn, they won 3-0 and went through quite comfortably. However, it should be pointed out that Preston have knocked out Fulham here this season in the League Cup, which went to a 16-15 penalty shootout. Cornell is going to take this free kick, long and right-footed downfield. Mings is underneath that. There's an excellent interview with Tyrone Mings in the Daily Telegraph today, talking about his road back from that knee injury that he had. He said at one stage he couldn't get up the stairs, Tyrone Mings, and even now it said he's still feeling pain in his knees, despite the fact he's playing again.
Yeah, he had a really bad knee injury. I remember when he did it, and it was a shame to see, because he was in good form at the time, but he looks like he's made a recovery. I think you normally have a little bit of pain when you come from something like that.
Yeah, as Preston bring it forward, but that's optimistic. The shot from Tordarson from probably 25 yards or more, the Icelandic international, well wide of the left post as he looked at it.
Yeah, we were just talking about Tyrone Mings there, John. It's really good to see him back out there.
It is, as Camera plays the ball forward. Rodgers is onto this. Rodgers takes on the defender, beats him twice, but then crucially Lewis Gibson, having been beaten twice by Rodgers, he wasn't going to be beaten a third time, and he got a foot in.
Really, really good defending from Lewis Gibson. He stayed on his feet, was patient with his defending, and he got his foot in at the vital moment. Really good defending from him.
Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. Still got 10-15 balloons bouncing around, mainly inside the Preston half, as the ball is cleared away downfield. The Villa supporters suggesting that it was out of play. The assistant believes otherwise, so play continues, but Rees heads it on, and the ball bounces all the way towards the edge of the penalty area, where Martinez is able to deal with that. 0-0, Preston 14th in the Championship. Coventry City from the Championship got to the semi-final of the FA Cup last season. That incredible tie against Manchester United in the semi-final, which I think is one of the most eventful FA Cup ties I've ever seen. It's unforgettable. And then the season before, Paul Heckingbottom's Sheffield United, as a Championship side, got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, where they were well beaten by Manchester City, I remember. Villa coming forward, Digne plays the ball in, and there's a little foul in there on Ramsey, so it's a free kick, another free kick, in a good position for Villa. This is a little further forward than the last one, so this will be probably 22-23 yards out.
Definitely a better situation to take it from than the one before. Definitely a lot closer to the edge of the 18-yard box. I think the referee got it right. I think it was the foul from Jordan Storey. He just left his foot in. Yeah, I'm just seeing the replay of it here now. It was a definite foul on Ramsey, I think it was.
Yeah, Ramsey.
Good opportunity here for Aston Villa.
Well, Rashford's already had one goal. This is slightly further to the left. You know, Rashford's interested in this, but Tielemans is there now as well. Digne just standing to the right.
Digne with his left foot wrapped round the other way as well. He's left a decent size, the keeper, on the left-hand side, hasn't he? If Digne can get it over the wall with that left foot.
Digne would be trying to do rather like Reece James for England the other night.
But what a free kick that was, wasn't it?
Wow. He'd be looking to do something similar here if it's Digne. In fact, Tielemans has gone away. It could be Rashford. So it is from left of centre, 23 yards out. Villa free kick, 0-0 in this FA Cup quarter-final here at Deepdale. Breaths are held. Digne it is, who goes for the curler, left-footed, but over the wall, and he wasn't able to replicate Reece James in any shape, really, and it flew away over the top corner, probably by a yard.
It wasn't anything like Reece James's, was it? You could see what he was trying to do. Corner left that side of the... he had trust in his wall, and Digne just couldn't hit the target. He put it high and wide over the crossbar.
Yeah, so Digne with the free kick, and Di Cornell was very happy to wave that into the Villa fans behind the goal. The Welsh under-21 international, as he was, well travelled as the ball bounces off Asensio and behind for another goal kick. David Cornell, who started out in Swansea, had a spell at Port Talbot on loan, was at Hereford, St Mirren, Portsmouth, then had permanent moves to Oldham, Northampton Town. He was at Ipswich, he was at Peterborough, but now here, having this opportunity, Di Cornell, you know, might never get an opportunity like this again. We'll see. Depends what happens to Preston in the FA Cup in this tie. Ball out of play. It's given us a Villa throw. Preston didn't like that. Back to Martinez. Takes a quick touch and then plays it to his right to Konza, who runs the ball out of the penalty area. Preston white shirts retreating. Konza gives it to Cash, who's forced to turn and give it back to Konza again, and they go back into their own half. The far side of Deepdale, there is not a seat to spare over there. All the hospitality boxes are over there as well. That's where the dugouts are. Can pick out Unai Emery and indeed Paul Heckingbottom standing just a few yards apart over there as Camara plays the ball over the halfway line. Then it comes back to Camara. There were reports during the international window of Camara opening talks for a new contract, which went down very well with Villa's supporters. Martinez passes the ball. There wasn't much there in terms of room for manoeuvre, but he was able to pass it past Rees, and Villa start again on the edge of their own box.
Both fullbacks in Digne and Matty Cash on the other side are getting a lot of the ball for Aston Villa, aren't they, John? The two centre forwards and the narrow midfield three of Preston's allowing the two fullbacks of Villa to get out all the time. It's something Preston and Heckingbottom might have to look at because they're struggling to contain the amount of space they've got on the sides to keep getting the ball and keep making them forward passes.
First quarter of the tie is over and it's still 0-0, but this is nice from Villa. Ball with Digne on the left hand side, but his pass doesn't find Rashford. That's cut out and it's chipped away to Brady, who plays it infield to Keane with that hair of his scraped back and tied up behind his head, but then Brady's ball infield just gives possession back to Aston Villa, who go all the way back to goalkeeper Martinez.
It's getting some attention, Will Keane's ponytail, isn't it, today? Steve was giving it before, and now you, John, is it?
Well,
I'd like to think Alex Ferguson would have had something to say back in the day about that. Yeah, sure, I think Will's forgot where his roots are.
Yes.
Would have been off back in the day, I'm sure.
Yes. Told in no uncertain terms. Martinez strikes this long downfield. They go with a long ball this time, Villa, which they can do. Here is Keane over on the left hand side, and then as the challenge comes in, it's Freukier who is adjudged to have fouled Konza, and it's a free kick to Villa in their own right back position. So it remains 0-0. 5 Live Sport on a Sunday afternoon. There will be a 6:06 later, by the way, an earlier start. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton will be back together. 5 o'clock until 7, and that'll include updates on the Bournemouth-Manchester City tie, which starts at 4:30. We'll keep you fully updated on that. John Akers and Francis Benali are going to be there for that. We will also keep you updated on all of the top matches up and down the country, the Women's Six Nations, the Premiership, Super League in the rugby as well, and obviously a programme of matches in the Women's Super League is underway, with a throw-in for Villa on the halfway line, which comes back centrally. Whiteman is there to tidy it up and play it to the halfway line, where Keane is holding it up against Konza. Preston then actually go all the way back into their back line again, and all the way back to goalkeeper Cornell. It's kind of lemon yellow that he's in. Cornell long to the halfway line. Mings wins the header. A number of the Preston supporters in front of us feel that he was fouling Rees, and then Brady goes back into the back line to Gibson. Long pass from him. Megoma takes that down high on his chest, almost on his throat. He's got it under control though, playing as the left wing back, the on loan Brentford man. Megoma still going up against Cash, takes it towards the corner flag, but I think Cash has been able to see it behind. He has, and it's a goal kick, well defended by the Villa right back.
2 examples of really good defending from Matty Cash in this opening 26 minutes. There's another example there, again just using all of his experience as Megoma runs at him. He gets his body across really well and ushers it out for a Aston Villa goal kick.
Just noticing there something was thrown down. I think it's probably the mosaics, isn't it? The mosaics have been scrumpled up into tiny little bits of paper, and it was being thrown at Martinez, who is quite the public enemy number one, isn't he, when Villa go away from home. Did you see him showboating against Brazil in the recent international?
It's not like him, is it?
Well, if there was ever going to be someone in an Argentina shirt who would take advantage of the fact that Argentina were winning 4-1 against Brazil, he'd be quite high on your list. He's
absolutely loved amongst the Aston Villa faithful, isn't he? And you have to say, I can see why. He's been a really outstanding goalkeeper for me the last 12-14 months since he's been at Villa. Really, he's been a really, really good keeper for them.
Yeah, I think he'd love the prospect, wouldn't he, if Villa were able to take Paris Saint-Germain to a penalty shootout in that Champions League tie.
Real character as well.
Yes, I think that would be right up his street. It is 0-0. So far so good for Preston, and Villa really have just had shots from distance, apart from that Konza header, as Tielemans is just clipped and tripped by Keane, and yellow card for Keane for that. Referee Kavanagh wasn't hanging around there. Yellow card straight out for the Preston number 7.
Yeah, I think he knew what he was doing, Will, there. They gave the ball away again in the middle of the pitch. The Aston Villa midfield landed on it. They were just about to slip the ball through for Marcus Rashford. He made the run. It was actually a good foul, John, when you look at it, because he was just about to make the forward pass, Tielemans.
It seems to me, and they've set out to do this, that Paul Heckingbottom and Preston North End need a really clever performance here today. They've got to use everything that they can. The odds are massively against them, and that's the kind of thing that that we can probably expect to see. Well, we've seen it already, haven't we? So it's a free kick. This is between 25 and 30 yards out, so it's more likely, you would think, to be a delivery into the box, although I have seen Rashford try them from this sort of range, and he is sizing it up.
He is.
Yeah, I think he might have a go. This will probably be 30 yards out. Rashford waiting to take this. The wall lined up on the edge of the D. Rashford strikes it low, hits. There are a whole group of players on the edge of the area, and he's actually hit his own man on the edge of the box, and it bounces away behind for a goal kick.
I think it was Tyrone Mings that it hit on the back of the heels, and it's gone out for a corner.
Yeah, goal kick is given, and Preston take it downfield. Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. Mings is able to get his head on that. Reese, that bounces away back to Villa. Torderson, now to Brady on the right hand side. Brady still going, left-footed ball curling in. Martinez comes, gets a hand to it, headed back across the penalty area by Freikje, and then wide from Torderson, 6 yards out, was stretching for it and couldn't direct it on target.
Welcome to the cup tie, Preston North End. It's the first opportunity they've had. It's Robbie Brady on that right hand side. We've seen it over a number of years. When he cuts in on that left foot, he found a lovely delivery to the back post, and it worked its way to Ford Arts. I think it was Martinez who came out, didn't get a clean punch on it. He's popped it up in the air and it's landed on Ford Artson's head. He just couldn't quite make the proper contact to hit the target and put it wide.
Yeah, he was jumping for it against camera and off his feet. He didn't have the balance and he couldn't direct it on target, and that's a little let off for Aston Villa. Excellent ball in, as you say, Alex, from Brady on his left foot. That was him turning back the years, wasn't it? 33 years old now, another one who started out at Manchester United.
Yeah, I played with him at Hull City. His left foot's wonderful. That's why I was a little bit surprised to see him on this right hand side. But when he cuts in on that left foot, we know how lethal he can be. We've seen it over the years, and we also saw it in the last tie, didn't we, against Burnley with the free kick that he put. It was a wonderful, wonderful free kick.
That's right, the famous 3-0 win against Burnley here in the 5th round as Villa come forward. The ball on the right hand side. Rodgers has got it. We'll just knock it back centrally to Cash, and then back to Rodgers. It's the first chance really that Preston have had, first proper chance. Still Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. 5 live from the BBC. Mings, high ball into the area, that's headed up and away, then nodded further away. McGorma's trying to reach it. Camera hooks it forward to Cash. Cash has got a bit of space here, low ball across, but then there's the stretch and away. And
Andrew Hughes, great defending.
Well defended by Hughes, but it's another corner to Villa.
Yeah, it was really good defending. Good position again for Matty Cash. We spoke about the full-backs getting forward. It was Cash this time, breaks down the right hand side. He whips one across the 6 yard box.
Quick one played into the near post. Preston were still getting themselves sorted there, but that was well anticipated actually. Not everyone didn't have their eye on the far side, and it was Ben Whiteman who stretched in at the near post to put it behind.
Sneaky from Asensio. He's tried to whip it in at the near post, but good concentration from Whiteman, who clears it.
Yep, so another corner, left footed into the near post. Cornell comes and gets a good punch on that to make sure, just got both fists to it to punch it away behind into the hoardings in front of the Bill Shankly stand for what will be a 3rd consecutive Villa corner. Left footed into the near post. This one is headed safely away by Brady. Comes back to Cash. Asensio, who took the corner, gets it back. Asensio though will have to go all the way back towards the halfway line. Had over half an hour now. Still 0-0. And Villa, this strong Villa team that Unai Emery has named, is not having things all their own way. Preston standing up strong, and Martinez with the ball in front of his penalty area, passing it forward. So 0-0 here in the FA Cup, the Emirates FA Cup quarter-final, and in the 12 o'clock kickoff in the Women's Super League. We'll go there in a moment, because Freikje has won the ball back for Preston, urged on by these Preston supporters. Torderson now, but Villa are back in position. Torderson looking for Brady. He's already put in one delicious cross. He has another one, and Mings gets his head to it and then is able to get underneath and head it further away. Digne goes down, wanted the free kick, that's not given. That was very generous from referee Kavanagh, although I think Digne made a lot of it. But Brady again causing problems.
It's him again, it's Robbie Brady. He's the only Preston player who's shown any real quality so far in this opening 33 minutes. That's the second time he's cut in on his left foot, and he whipped in a lovely ball. It was great defending from Tyrone Mings, I have to say. He gets across his man and heads it clear. Great ball in again from Robbie Brady. Started the game really well.
Yeah. So 6 matches today in the WSL. Later on you'll be able to hear commentary on Chelsea West Ham from 4:30 on Sports Extra. Ramsey's pass though beyond anyone in a claret and blue shirt. But Manchester United, Everton is already all over, Nathan Alban.
It is Manchester United 2, Everton 0. John, goals from Dominique Janssen and Grace Clinton as United move above Arsenal into second for a short time at least, and a top 3 Champions League spot all but confirmed. Full-time Man United 2, Everton 0.
As Preston hit a long pass forward, but that will just bounce all the way through for a goal kick. So it's still 0-0 between Preston of the Championship and Aston Villa, currently 9th in the Premier League. This match to join Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, who are already through into the last 4 of the great competition.
He'll be really happy, Paul Heckingbottom, how his team have started. They've had a couple of chances. They've tried to put players in the middle of the pitch, compact the middle of the pitch, sacrifice wide areas in the full-backs, and they're just waiting for their moment from people like Robbie Brady to put balls in the box. They're frustrating Aston Villa at the moment, I have to say.
They are. 10 minutes to go to half-time. 0-0. Aston Villa with a throw halfway inside their own half, and now dozens and dozens of scrunched up bits of mosaic are now littering the sides of the pitch as Villa play the ball forward towards Cash, still 10 yards inside his own half. Right-footed pass forward to Rodgers, who might be offside. Rodgers puts in the challenge. Magoma puts the challenge in on Rodgers, bounces off the Preston defender. It's a corner. He was onside.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was. It was a really well-timed run from Rodgers. I thought he got down the side of Magoma, but he got back the wing back on that far side, and he made a really good challenge in the 18-yard box. Had to time it right because he went to floor, but he's put it out for an Aston Villa corner.
That's the voice of Alex Bruce with us on 5 Live. This is corner number 6 for Aston Villa. Asensio plays it in low this time to the near post, but that was intercepted and will be taken away by Hughes, actually, the central defender. Hughes pass forward. That's asking a lot of Rees, and Martinez is going to allow the ball to run through for a goal kick. We are now into the last 10 minutes of the first half, and still we await the opening goal. Tyrone Mings just taps the ball back to Martinez, who actually won his 50th cap for Argentina during this recent window. Long pass forward from him. This is for Rashford to chase. Just seen the free kick really from Rashford so far. Rashford still on it, plays it back to Cash, corner of the area, left-footed cross towards the back post. Ramsey was looking for it. That was headed away though by Brady, and Villa take up possession again, middle of the half. Tielemans, FA Cup final winning goal scorer Tielemans. Digne's ball in, but Brady threw himself into the line of fire to block the cross and put it behind for a corner, this time from the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's them full-backs that we keep talking about getting forward, and as I keep saying, they've got space on that outside, so they keep working the ball out to them, and they get there and they put the ball across the box. But I have to say, Preston have defended the box really, really well. They've blocked the crosses continuously through this first half, hence why there's been so many corners, John.
Yep. So number 6 is swiftly followed by number 7. Rashford to take this. Villa have 4 players lining up at the far post, but actually Mings just wanders further across now, waiting for the Rashford delivery. Tielemans with a run into the box, but he's been watched. Still we wait. Now the 6-yard box is congested. Cornell very congested. Rashford's ball in, but a stretch from Konza. It was slightly behind him. He was falling backwards and he could only head it up. And from a Preston point of view, harmlessly over the top of the bar, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's the second opportunity Konza's had. It was just a little bit behind him, wasn't it? He couldn't quite get the execution right. Good ball in from Marcus Rashford. Couldn't hit the target.
No, Konza, who should have scored for England the other night had it not been for a brilliant save by the Latvian goalkeeper. Point blank range. But he didn't do much wrong, Konza. in Tuchel's first 2 matches. Preston clearing it away from the back. There's Asensio tried to charge down the clearance but just deflected it out of play for a throw into Preston. So 0-0 it is. Preston lose possession from the throw in, so it's a Villa throw instead. Here's Tielemans turns against Whiteman. Tielemans stabs it to Digne over here on the left hand side. Digne uses Tielemans again. I mentioned that goal that he scored, that winning goal for Leicester, one of the best FA Cup final winning goals that I've witnessed, that one. It sparked great celebrations among the Leicester City fans, which I thought probably I'd never see the like of again until Newcastle won a cup a fortnight ago. Now, I'm not sure I'll ever see the like of that again.
Incredible.
Amazing yesterday as well, those scenes that I'm sure everyone will have seen from the centre of Newcastle upon Tyne and on the town moor, of course.
Can you imagine if they win the Premier League, what it'd be like?
Well, as Villa have the ball with Cash down the right, but Ngoma puts in the challenge. I actually think, Alex, that whatever they do from now, whatever they win, I don't think it'll be as good as that. I think it's the first time,
they've lifted the curse, haven't they?
Yeah, the
incredible scenes.
Yeah, throw in taken by Villa, camera back to Cash and then back to the halfway line. Half-time approaching, 5 minutes to go. Konsa just dragged the ball away from Rees, otherwise Rees would have been away from the halfway line. There would have only been Mings as the covering defender, but Villa have it inside their own half. Villa long and left-footed by Digne, but Ramsey will do well to reach that. He has reached it though, and he's brought it down, and he's up against Jordan Storey. Plays it back to the edge of the penalty area. Marco Asensio with the 7 goals that he's already scored for Aston Villa. 7 actually in his last 5 appearances before this little break that they had. Here he is again, Asensio, wasn't in the Spain squad. Left-footed ball played to the edge of the area, which is cleared away, but still in play. Villa take up possession again. Mings drags it onto his right foot, then back onto his left. He was saying in that interview, Tyrone Mings, that he hasn't given up hope of playing for England again, in the week that he was also named as the non-executive director, one of the non-executive directors for Euro 2028. Camera playing the ball over the top, a stretch by Rodgers, but it bounces all the way through to Cornell, and Preston see that threat out quite comfortably. I thought that news this week about Tyrone Mings gives you a very clear direction of where he sees the rest of his career going.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll be great to see him back in an England shirt after the injury problems that he's had. The one thing he possesses, John, is a wonderful left foot, hasn't it? We're not blessed with natural left-sided centre-halves. Obviously Dan Burns there, he did really well for England.
Yes, Dan Burn.
Good to see him back.
Dan Burn now in the picture as Villa play it forward. Ramsey, Rashford in the centre circle, but the covering challenge from Freukier actually deflects it back to the edge of his own penalty area, and then Cornell takes no chances, slices the clearance that's headed forward by Tordarson, but bounces out of play for a throw into Villa just down in front of us here. Almost, what have we heard? Almost 42 minutes played of the match, and Preston have restricted Aston Villa. Tielemans playing a crossfield pass in between 2 Preston players, picks out Cash, but the hard-working Rees, 10 goals this season, all of them in the Championship. Rees tackles back Rodgers though, his little ball forward again. Freukier challenging him, just did enough to force the error from Rodgers, who passed it all the way through for a goal kick.
They've done that really well, Preston. They've worked tirelessly to get back behind the ball. They've defended their own half really well, and when Aston Villa get into the final third, they forced them into mistake after mistake. They've been sloppy in possession when they get anywhere near the Preston goal, and they've defended really well.
So it is still 0-0. 1 or 2 people here to our right just get to their feet and head down into the stands. The hospitality suites will be doing very well today, won't they? Here for a match like this, they'll be absolutely packed. In fact, we were in the Greats Lounge earlier, which is where they look after the media, and all of the tables there were absolutely packed as the ball is played forward. But Preston have got it quite comfortably.
Packed early doors as well, weren't they?
It was Sunday lunch. You don't want to be rushing your Sunday lunch.
You certainly enjoyed yours, John.
Well, I had a very modest portion. 0-0 as half-time approaches. And in the 2 o'clock kickoffs in the WSL, a goal in the Crystal Palace Arsenal match. Charlotte Richardson.
It's Palace 0, Arsenal 1. Beth Mead fires the Gunners. They had a really sharp, smart volleyed effort from the pullback from Chloe Kelly. It had been a relatively even start to the match, but the Gunners find a way to go ahead. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1.
All the 2 o'clock kickoffs still 0-0. Choice of listening right now, by the way. The IPL is on Sports Extra. What have you spotted?
Here comes this long throw again from Emil Wright. He's worked so hard up leading the line for Preston.
Yes,
this is a chance to put it right in the box again.
They called him across, didn't they, Reese? By calling out his name, the Preston supporters in the Sir Tom Finney stand. Here he comes, winds himself up. Reese with a long throw, takes a little glance, hooked away, then headed further away by Asensio. Headed further away again by Rashford, but then lifted back over the top. Keane in on the challenge, shouts that he might have been manhandled on the edge of the penalty area, bounces out to Brady, and then the referee blows his whistle, much to the frustration of the home supporters.
Yeah, the linesman took his time to put his flag up. They were trying to keep it alive in the box. It was Robbie Brady in the end competing for it, and then the referee just killed the threat of anything happening with the linesman putting his flag up.
So it remains 0-0. Villa, who do have Ollie Watkins on the bench, and John McGinn as well, and Maatsen, who started the last match, the second leg against Club Brugge. So they're all on a strong Villa substitutes bench. And as I mentioned, Osmajic is among the subs for Preston.
Will Keane's on a booking here as well.
Will Keane has just got involved in a challenge with Konza, and Konza has stayed down. As you say, he's already been yellow carded for that professional foul that he committed at the other end of the pitch. Referee Kavanagh just calls him away, and obviously with it being a yellow card, VAR can't look at this.
No.
And it's just going to be a word in the ear from referee Kavanagh. I see Ben Whiteman was also, as the Preston captain, also speaking to referee Kavanagh about that as well. So there we are, that's the half-time whistle. And actually we played only 6 or 7 seconds over the first 45, and the players sprint off towards the corner. So Preston against Aston Villa. Villa very much the favourites. What was that chorus of boos for? Oh, referee
Consa's not happy with the challenge from Will Keane, and I think
Martinez. It's Martinez who's got involved. They're booing because Emi Martinez has gone to fight the cause on behalf of Konza to the referee. And actually, you can hear now that he's receiving a good deal of abuse, Martinez, as he runs down the tunnel, and various other pieces of that mosaic are being thrown in his direction. But he's out of sight now. He'll be back in the dressing rooms. Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. He can't resist it.
He can't. Martinez. He has to get involved somewhere, doesn't he? He has to be the pantomime villain. But Will Keane didn't have anywhere near enough contact on him there on Konsa to get a second yellow card. We thought he might have caught him with his studs, but you can see in the replay there was nowhere near enough contact.
And really, Alex, relatively few alarms for Villa, who've obviously had more of the possession, but they've had the free kicks, the Konsa chances, probably the best that they've had, that header. But at the other end, Thordarsson's chance with his head was as good as anything that Villa have had.
You'd have to say they were the 2 chances of the game, weren't they? The Konsa, the header on around 20-minute mark, and then the one time that Preston challenged Martinez up the top end of the pitch here for Preston was when the ball was put in from Robbie Brady. He just couldn't hit the target, could he, Frodja? It was a really good opportunity, but as I say, put it wide of the post.
Just looking at my little screen, I see Mark Chapman's here today. I didn't know he was here. It's nice of him to come and say hello. Anyway, so he's on BBC One and on 5 Live with us. Steve Crossman is tucked in very closely to our right. We can't miss you, Steve. No, 0-0 at half-time.
He was here earlier. I think you were embroiled in your notes, John, about all of these new players. Yeah.
Oh, I'll take it all back then. I'll take it back.
One thing I have to take back is the ponytail comment about Will Keane. I believe it's actually a very tight bun, Alex.
Oh, right, OK. I think you'd suit one of them.
Said nobody ever. Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that occurs to me right at the end of that half is if Emi Martinez has any more of those white pieces of paper that made up the Preston mosaic thrown at him, he'll be able to recreate that mosaic at home. I mean, he's been a real target.
He was behind that goal. You can see all the rolled up pieces of the mosaic behind his goal, the way they've been thrown at him. The one thing you can look forward to in the second half, he's right in front of the Villa supporters, so I'm sure it'll be totally different for him.
In terms of what we've seen in that first half, when I was at the training ground the other day to see Paul Heckingbottom and Will Keane, I had a little chat with Robbie Brady, and I mean he's such a good deliverer of set pieces and of crosses from open play. I was lucky enough to be there in Lyon when he scored against the hosts France in the knockout stages of Euro 2016 with Conor McNamara and Kevin Kilban. So he's no stranger to big occasions. There's nothing about today that's going to faze him at all.
Yeah, he still plays international football with Ireland. I think he did well when he was away with them last week as well. And his experience is going to be key on a day like today. And you can see quite often the Preston players keep the middle of the pitch compact. They're a really tight bunch the way they're defending. They're forcing Aston Villa wide, but the one out ball that they've got is Robbie Brady on this right hand side. He's hugging the touchline. Every time Preston get it, the 2 or 3 times they've got control of the ball, they've tried to work it out to him, and he's put a couple of lovely deliveries in the box with his left foot, one in particular which obviously nearly led to the real chance Preston had.
We talked a lot about Di Cornell in goal. He hasn't had that much to do. He's been solid with what he has had to do. The other thing is Emil Rees, when he takes these long throws. The only slight downside for Preston is if there was one man they would want in the middle for that long throw, it is also Emil Rees.
Yeah, you can sense the anticipation though when he comes to take that throw in. The crowd get up and chant his name. It's a hell of a weapon to have, and when he throws it right in the, I mean, Martinez came and collected the first one, but they really need to concentrate, Aston Villa, because it's something they obviously work on. He puts it in there, and it can be quite lethal, especially with cup ties the way it is, with the chances for Preston being few and far between. That's one area where they look to hurt them.
Right, Alex, John, thank you both very much for the time being. Let's check in on the WSL. Off to Crystal Palace. Charlotte Richardson.
Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. The Gunners ahead, courtesy of lovely link-up play from 2 England Lionesses. Chloe Kelly loving life back at Arsenal with a strong run down the left wing towards the byline with the cross to Beth Mead, whose volley goal is her 50th for Arsenal in the WSL. It's a breakthrough, but a real battle in open play here. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1.
What about Brighton, Manchester City? Emily Herbert.
Brighton 0, Manchester City 0. A late change for City before kick-off. Lyra Alexandri picked up an injury in that warm-up. So Arsenal loanee Laura Wienreuter has come into the side. But despite the injury crisis, City controlling the play here, nearly capitalised on a mistake at the back. A poor pass out from Loic. Bounced off Mary Fowler, but rolled just wide. We're 21 minutes in. It's Brighton 0, Manchester City 0.
Really interesting first half here at Preston North End. One of those stadiums where they don't have a big digital clock anywhere for you to see the time, but they do have this big old very grand looking clock, analogue, opposite us, which is telling us everything we need to know. What an effort from Preston in that first half though. We were saying beforehand that this stadium, Deepdale, was remodelled on the Luigi Ferraris. Well, I can tell you, the skies above look very southern Italy. The temperature down here, northwest England, through and through. So it's 0-0, second half commentary, and all of the day's other live sport coming up after the news with Dan Maudsley.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The former Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has said that he would forgive John Smythe, the late barrister who abused more than 100 boys and young men over decades. He was asked the question in an interview with Laura Koonsberg. Justin Welby stepped down as Archbishop late last year after a report found he missed opportunities to bring Smythe to justice. He did give some added context to his reply. The founder of the Forgiveness Project, Martina Cantor-Cusino, was listening.
When I heard the headlines, I thought it's not his place to forgive, it's the place of the victim. But then, of course, I listened to the recording and it made a lot more sense. He absolutely isn't forgiving on behalf of the victims, and he makes that very clear. And actually what I really felt about it, there was quite a genuine apology there. He says, I'm so sorry. He says, I'm so ashamed of my own failure.
At least 1,700 people are now believed to have died in Myanmar after the country experienced its strongest earthquake in decades on Friday. In the capital, Naypyidaw, this rescuer from the Myanmar Fire Department said one man was freed after spending nearly 2 days buried in rubble.
We were able to rescue a man who is around 24 years of age from the rubble. It took us 24 hours for this operation to save this man. He had been stuck under the rubble for about 40 hours.
A tsunami warning's been issued for Tonga after a 7.1 magnitude quake in the South Pacific. The offshore quake was felt across Tonga and Niue. The government will attempt to override independent guidance on how offenders from ethnic minorities should be sentenced with new legislation in the coming days. The Sentencing Council advised judges in England and Wales to take minority offenders' circumstances into account before deciding their sentence, but the Justice Secretary said this would amount to differential treatment. And figures suggest that the number of migrants who've reached the UK on small boats so far this year is up 43% on the same period in 2024. The government says it's taking much stronger action with France to tackle smuggling gangs.
The local elections could rock politics. On May the 1st, voters in parts of England will elect hundreds of seats on 22 councils plus 6 mayors, deciding who runs your local services.
Matt Chorley.
On Thursday, I'm heading to Grantham in Lincolnshire, surrounded by some of the key political battlegrounds. We'll look north to mayoralty battles in Hull and Doncaster, south to Cambridgeshire, west to Nottinghamshire, and east to Norfolk, where planned elections have been postponed. Join us Thursday from 2. Ask your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5 Live Sport.
With Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
And we are live from Deepdale for this FA Cup quarter-final. Preston North End 0, Aston Villa 0, half-time. We will be bringing you the draw, by the way, once we're done here for the semi-finals. So second half commentary on the way very shortly. In cricket, 2 matches in the IPL this afternoon, live on 5 Sports Extra. Fairly comprehensive win for the Delhi Capitals in the first one. Matt Kabir-Floyd.
Hi Steve, yeah, the Sunrisers' much vaunted batting lineup misfired today. Mitchell Starc did most of the damage in the power play. In fact, the Delhi Capitals picked up 4 wickets inside the first 5 overs, and Starc ended up with his first 5-wicket haul in T20 cricket, believe it or not, in his 144th game. Sunrisers bowled out for 163 inside the 20 overs. Aniket Verma top scoring was 74 or 41, and that was nowhere near enough. Delhi Capitals strolled to their target. They lost just 3 wickets, 4 overs to spare. The vastly experienced Faf du Plessis still going at the age of 40, 50 off 27 for him, and they never looked like losing it, to be honest. Big win for the Capitals.
Big day for Jofra Archer as well after recent performances, one in particular.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The infamous Jofra Archer now, he has the most expensive figures ever in IPL history when he got smashed for 76 by the Sunrisers. Didn't bowl too well in the next game either, so an important game for him. He needs to respond, and the Rajasthan Royals need him because they've looked off the pace in the first 2 games. That they lost both of them comfortably. They're up against the Chennai Super Kings side who are full of star quality. MS Dhoni, Ravindra Jadeja, Rachin Ravindra, R. Ashwin, and possibly Sam Curran and Jamie Overton as well. They lost their last game, having won their first, so they could do with getting back on track as well. Could be a good one. Will be coming on air at 2:55 on Sports Extra to build up to that one. 3 o'clock start.
Matt, great stuff. Thank you very much indeed. Into the Women's Super League, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Charlotte Richardson.
Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. Alessia Russo doubles the visitors' advantage as Arsenal pounced on a loose ball on the outskirts of the area, bouncing through to Russo to cool his slot beyond the keeper. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2.
Already in the WSL, Manchester United have closed to within 5 points of Chelsea at the top after a 2-0 win over Everton. Dominique Janssen, Grace Clinton scored the goals. We can hear from player of the match, Leah Galton, speaking to Liam McDevitt.
Another great atmosphere here at Liam for yourself, chipping in with an assist. I know you've scored 5 goals today, but what did you make of the performance today?
I think overall, like I said, great performance from the girls, and it's just sometimes nice to get things like this, you know, to keep you going, especially this far in the season, so hopefully more assists to come.
And Grace Clinton finishing it off there, a player who's doing so many good things in the England squad, but made a great deep run from midfield, which is what you want as a wide player.
Listen, I told her all week, get in that box and you'll get some goals, so she did today, and I'm really proud of her.
And your manager, Mark, he seems in good spirits. The form of this team's looking really good, obviously a blip a few weeks ago. What are the aims? A Champions League sewn up now?
You know what, we can't look too far obviously in the future, and obviously it's always in the back of your mind, but you just take game by game, and obviously next week we've got a big game against when we come back from international, we've got a big game against City, so we'll focus on that and then we'll go from there.
And for you, tough end of the season, I know you've had an injury. How's the body feeling?
absolutely shattered. But I'll push through for the team and we'll make it till the end of the season. We'll be fine.
Good interview. Leah Galton speaking to Liam McDevitt. Other live scores for you in the WSL: Brighton 0, Manchester City 0, Leicester 0, Tottenham 0, and it's also goalless in the game between Liverpool and Aston Villa. Remember, there's a 4:30 game, that is Chelsea against West Ham. One other line, football in the EFL. League One, Rotherham United have sacked manager Steve Evans after yesterday's 4-0 win at Crawley. We're at 2 matches in Super League this afternoon. Wigan can move up to third if they beat second bottom Salford. Ian Chisnell.
And they'll be massive favourites to do so. This short trip to champions Wigan is just about the last thing that troubled Salford would have wished for. With key players continuing to head for the exit door, the Red Devils must face a Warriors side smarting themselves from back-to-back defeats. Jay Field returns at fullback, fresh from signing a new 2-year deal. Bevan French moves back to the halves. For Salford, Callum Watkins misses out.
Winless Huddersfield Giants at home to leaders Hull KR. They've got a 100% record, 5 from 5. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, it's pretty ominous, isn't it? This one for poor old Huddersfield and Luke Robinson, who have been ahead in, I think, something like 6 out of their 7 games in League and Cup this year, and lost all of them, apart from the very first one in the Challenge Cup. So, yet to, as you say, win in the Super League. They're taking on a Hull KR side who have come purring out of the blocks in 2025. They were grand final runners-up last year. There were some questions about, whether they could continue that. They certainly have done, and they are pretty much at full strength. Artur Morg makes his debut for them. And Huddersfield, they're going to be very, very slim odds to get a win here.
They are making Hull KR, those question marks, look pretty daft at the minute. Were there genuine reasons, do you think, before the season to expect that they wouldn't be able to repeat it? Because at the minute they just look absolutely ruthless.
Yeah, I think they genuinely were, because I don't think anybody knew quite how they would have coped with the disappointment. You go to Old Trafford, you've got this big day in the sun. They got to a Challenge Cup final the year before and lost out in that. Was it going to be the kind of straw that broke the camel's back? Was it going to deflate them? But they signed really experienced players during the off-season. They brought in Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, 37, grizzled front rower. They signed Mickey McAlorum, likewise a tough old hooker, and they brought that experience in just to help some of the young lads like Mikey Lewis and continue their development. And you can see that they've had a really steadying influence. They bring that level of experience and winning mentality that maybe Rovers were looking for. So, as you say, so far the signs are good, and at the moment they're the team to beat.
Thank you very much, Matt. You might have heard the slight tone of surprise and doubt when I said Steve Evans had been sacked after Rotherham United's 4-0 win. It was indeed a 4-0 defeat. Otherwise, some would say harsh. So he's gone at Rotherham United this afternoon. We're live from Deepdale, ready for second half commentary of this FA Cup quarter-final. Preston 0, Aston Villa 0, set up nicely for Alex Bruce and John Murray.
Yes, in the sunshine here at Deepdale. Don't see any changes at half-time, and if there were changes, they would be made on the opposite side of the ground from us, on the Invincibles pavilion side. No, it is as the match started. So Preston with Cornell in goal in the absence of the injured Woodman, as Chris Kavanagh blows his whistle, and I get the stopwatch running as Villa go back to the edge of their penalty area, having kicked off at the start of the second half. Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. Preston with Cornell in goal, Story, Gibson and Hughes, the 3 central defenders. Brady on the right, Megoma on the left, Whiteman, Tordarson and Freukier in the midfield, with Keane and Rees up front. And Villa with Martinez in goal, who was booed off at half-time for the 675th time in his career. Back 4 of Cash, Konza, Mings and Digne, then Tielemans and Camara. And then in the first half, Alex Bruce, Rodgers on the right, Ramsey on the left, Asensio in the middle and Rashford up front. I did wonder whether there might have been a change, but it is as it was.
I'm actually looking at it that there's a bit more of a box going on now, with Tielemans and Kamara at the bottom of it, Asensio. And I'm just looking at the other one there.
Yeah, Ramsey on
the top there, just making that box in midfield, with Morgan Rodgers high up on the right hand side and Rashford through the middle. Whether that's something he's just made a little tweak with Unai Emery, we'll have to wait and see how it develops.
So 5 Live from the BBC. We're on BBC Sounds as well. All live BBC radio is on there. And I'm pleased to say for this second half, listeners to the BBC's World Service join us on this spring-like afternoon in Lancashire, England. where Preston 0, Aston Villa 0 is the score in the third of the FA Cup quarter-finals. Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest can watch this unfold. Bournemouth, Manchester City later. The draw for the semi-finals, the Wembley semi-finals, will be made after this, so we'll bring you that as well from here at Deepdale. But yes, World Service listeners, I was thinking actually, as Mings hits a long pass forward for Digne to chase, but he won't reach that. Brady was running with him, and actually there must have been a touch off Brady that Chris Kavanagh has spotted, and it's a corner, a very, very cheap corner for Villa.
I'm trying to think if it took a nick off Robbie Brady. I didn't see one. I wonder where the referee's seen that.
It surely could only have been that, unless it flicked a player closer to Mings when he hit the pass.
Yeah, I think that might have been the case. Robbie Brady really tracked the run well of Digne on the left-hand side. I didn't see any contact on the ball, though, for it to go out for a corner. However, Rashford's out there taking it.
Yeah, Rashford to take it, 0-0. And Villa players grouping themselves on the edge of the penalty area, but they take it short, yet the Villa players are still on the edge of the box. Then they run in all directions, then the delivery comes in, and Morgan Rogers, who I think was given a little push by Brady, well, he was, and now and this is in front of the Alan Kelly stand, the town end, and this is the end where all of the various bits of scrunched up mosaic have been thrown on, and I think one of them might have hit him. And he's just feeling his right shoulder, but it's a goal kick to Preston.
Yeah, it looks like he's just landed on his right shoulder. That's what he's moaning about. I wasn't sure whether it was that or the pieces of paper that hit him.
But it was the way he landed.
It was the landing, that's for sure.
So still 0-0 as Cornell's goal kick, controlled by Whiteman. Whiteman passes it forward, but Rees falls over as Digne challenges him, and Mings passes it back to goalkeeper Martinez. Yes, I was thinking of the World Service listeners, because Leon Bailey during the international window was playing for Jamaica against St Vincent and the Grenadines. He actually scored a penalty against them, and he's not involved at all today, and I wonder whether that's because of the various travel that was involved in that. As the ball bounces out of play, and Unai Emery picks it up and just gives the ball, just leaves it on the ground for Brady to take this. But I think in terms of world away matches, St Vincent and the Grenadines away is probably one of those that I would quite fancy covering.
I wouldn't mind coming with you if that's okay, John. Sounds like there's a bit of travelling. We can go together, can't we?
Now we've made our debut together. I don't see why not.
Why not?
As Tordarson goes down and wins a free kick that ironically is being cheered to the rafters by the North End supporters. Not sure how much contact there was from Tielemans on Tordarson. Not a lot is the answer to that.
It's another opportunity though for Robbie Brady to wind that left foot up again. The Preston players are all trotting forward towards that 18-yard box. Robbie standing over the ball on that right-hand side. We know how good he is over the years in these kind of situations. That in-swinging delivery.
Yes, Robbie Brady, the man who's just won his 70th cap for the Republic of Ireland. So a big moment here in this cup tie. Preston with a set piece that Brady actually takes short, and then Whiteman lifts it high into the Villa area. That's nodded away by Digne. He was trying to give it back to Brady. That looked like something Preston had worked on, but it didn't come off at all, as Whiteman is there again to pick up a loose ball and pass it to the right hand side, where Brady flicks it back and flicks it straight to Ramsey, who tried to win a throw-in. That didn't work. Still Preston come forward. Camara steps in against Rees. I thought he might just get there second, Camara, but he got there first and was able to take the ball out towards the left hand side, but he's been dispossessed. This is good from Preston, who go back towards the halfway line to Lewis Gibson, and the fair-haired central defender Lewis Gibson, the former Newcastle youngster. Gibson plays it to Magoma, who goes back towards the halfway line, and now Hughes, and then Magoma is going to run the ball infield and actually goes back into his back line. So let's get an update on the Brighton-Manchester City WSL match from Emily Herbert.
Manchester City lead, it's Brighton 0, Manchester City 1. Kirsten Kasparai gets her first league goal of the season. All she had to do was tap it in from the 6-yard box from a perfect cross from Melly Fowler from the right. With 38 minutes in, it's Brighton 0, Manchester City 1.
Rees with a cross for Preston, headed away at the back post by Cash. And then the ball is deflected out of play for a throw-in to Villa near their own left-back corner flag. And the Villa fans still bathed in sunshine. About half of that stand, the Bill Shankly stand to our left. Bill Shankly, who was in the team last time Preston North End won the FA Cup back in 1938. Camara wins possession back for Villa, plays it forward. Rodgers is onto this after it was missed by Megoma on the halfway line. White shirt's getting back, and Rodgers rides the challenge, gives it to Rashford. Rashford still, Cornell comes out, gets a foot to it, and then turns and drops on the ball. Chance for Rashford, not taken.
Biggest chance of the game for Aston Villa so far. Marcus Rashford slipped through, it works its way scruffily to him. It creates the 1v1 situation with him and Cornell, the goalkeeper. He just couldn't get his shot away. It was good defending from Preston. They got back, they nibbled at the Aston Villa players, and it turned out scruffy in the end for Cornell to dive on top of the ball, but a really good opportunity for Aston Villa. They'll be disappointed with how it ended.
Yeah, just tried to slip it past the goalkeeper who was coming out, Cornell, who got a leg to it or a foot to it, and he was fortunate that it bounced behind him. He turned and just dropped on it.
They just weren't clinical enough, Aston Villa, were they?
That was the chance though for Rashford once again to score his first goal for Aston Villa. This is his 10th appearance. 5 starts, 5 as a substitute. As Megoma might have been pulled back, he was. Not much in it from Asensio, but referee Kavanagh has given the free kick. Free kick taken quickly by Freuke, but not able to be headed on by Rees into the path of Keane, and Martinez has picked it up on the edge of the area.
Yeah,
so
that's the one thing you don't want from a Preston point of view. When you win a free kick, you try and take it quickly. You give possession straight back to Aston Villa. You want to try and keep hold of the ball, and in this opening 10 minutes of the second half, they've done it better, Preston. They just need to try and work a goal-scoring opportunity if they can.
0-0, 5 Live in the World Service from the BBC. Marcus Rashford's now not scored in his last 14 appearances. This is number 15 for club and country. Manchester United, Aston Villa and England. 0-0, and still we have the chance of what would be a big surprise if Preston knocked out Aston Villa today, as Villa though tried to rule out that by Rodgers, bringing the ball forward, gives it to Rashford onto his left foot, heavy touch. Freuke put in the challenge, still Rashford. It's caught by Tordarson, and the referee has stopped play because there's a Preston man down in the centre circle. And clearly the feeling is that it was a head injury, and the Preston player concerned is actually just putting his hand to his head just to see if there's...
I think it's Ben Whiteman in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, just to see if there's any blood there, which clearly there isn't. So the referee has dealt with that. Or did he actually give the free kick to Villa? I think he might have done, judging by the way that the Villa players are lining up here.
It was
and actually the players are asking.
Yeah, it was a clash of heads in the middle of the pitch between Whiteman and Kamara.
No, it's going to be a drop ball.
And he's given the Dwight. Yeah, he's given the drop ball, which I'm surprised about, because Marcus Rashford was taken out on the edge of the box there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought it might have been a free kick to Villa. Anyway, uncontested drop ball. Whiteman's okay, didn't need treatment. Cameron out. Receives the ball, gives it to Cash. Left-footed ball in from Cash, headed up by Whiteman, still hasn't cleared the penalty area, nodded across the box by Tielemans, and that'll just dribble out of play behind the goal for a goal kick, and it remains 0-0. We heard from Emily that Manchester City are 1-0 up at Brighton in the WSL. The other scores in the 2 o'clock kickoffs, the latest scores: Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2, Leicester 0, Tottenham 0, and Liverpool 0, Aston Villa 0. The women's football show is on BBC One tonight, and just a reminder, this match is on BBC One, but any of these FA Cup highlights, you'll be able to find them on the BBC Sport website and app, on the football pages, the various clips, the goals. Not that we've had any yet today, but certainly yesterday's, as Preston come forward through the middle, but Camara's able to get a foot in for Aston Villa. And yes, Simon Stone is here with us today. You'll be able to read his match report and analysis on this, and of course the podcast, the 5 Live Football Daily, will have it all wrapped up for you on BBC Sounds either tonight or in the morning. Preston 0, Aston Villa 0. Aston Villa with Martinez. It passes it forward, it hits Whiteman, and then Cash is able to win it back against Freukier. And then Rodgers, forward for Cash, but Megoma slides in to put the ball out of play, the 18-year-old who can play on either flank. And it's a throw-in to Villa 10 yards back, in fact level with the edge of the Preston penalty area.
Couple of challenges Magoma's put in where he's got back and showed his good pace. Good challenge there in the bottom right-hand corner on Cash.
Yeah, England under 19-year-old Megoma. Ball into the penalty area, just bounces all the way through for a goal kick. Took a deflection actually, and so it is a goal kick to Preston, who've done their best to frustrate Aston Villa. This is their first of 7 matches in 21 days, which includes big matches for them in their attempt to get themselves up into the Champions League places, which will almost certainly be the top 5 this season. So they're at Brighton on Wednesday, and of course the 2 legs of the Champions League quarter-final against PSG. First time Villa have been that far in that competition since 1983, as Villa collect a loose ball with Asensio centre field, then through the middle from Rashford, ball in from Digne, and it's tapped into the net. Rashford is there to score his first goal for Aston Villa. That's a good feeling for Villa's number 9, finally in his 10th appearance, strokes it in with confidence, and the Premier League team have the lead through Marcus Rashford. Preston 0, Villa 1.
We spoke about the full-backs getting forwards for Aston Villa. It was Luca Digne this time down that left-hand side. They slipped the ball through to him. It's a great pick out from him, and there's Marcus Rashford around the penalty spot to slip it into the bottom right-hand corner of the Preston goal. Really well worked. Aston Villa 1-0.
And there it is, Marcus Rashford finally scores his first goal for clubs or country since December the 1st, and a lovely, relaxed, composed, calm finish, just passed it into the net.
Yeah, it was a well-worked goal. It's Luca Digne, as I say, and when you get in that position, you always ask of the full-back, can you pick someone out? He certainly does that. The first time in the game, I have to say, where they've got in that area of the pitch, showed the Premier League quality that they possess. And there's Marcus Rashford with a really good finish. Will do him no harm whatsoever.
So 13, now 14 minutes played in the second half, and Aston Villa are finally in front. It's not as if they've been hammering on the Preston door, but just a bit of quality there, really.
Yeah, and do you know what, John? I was looking at Unai Emery over the far side when they had an opportunity to break just a couple of minutes prior to the goal, and he was gesticulating with Matty Cash on this right-hand side. Like, they need to show more quality when they get in the forward areas. They kept giving the ball away. A couple of minutes later, they go and show the quality that he's asking for, and they find themselves 1-0 up.
They do. I think he'll have given them the hurry up at half-time, Unai Emery, which I would suspect he's very capable of doing. Konza plays the ball back to Martinez, but Villa now in position to win through to their first FA Cup semi-final for 10 years. Looking for a second, Asensio forward to goal scorer Rashford. Rashford now, left side of the box, looks to drive it across, beats the defender. Oh, and then Ramsey with a chance, mishit it. Then it bounced to Rodgers, and he hit Megoma on the line. Could easily be 2-0.
They're finding the forward runs. It's Rashford this time. It's a great opportunity to score. It's Morgan Rodgers at the back post. It's great defending from Mawini to block it on the line. Aston Villa are still probing again here on the edge of the Preston box.
Yeah, should have been Ramsey's goal, really. And a challenge on Rodgers inside the penalty area by Megoma, and it's a penalty. Megoma stepped in on Morgan Rodgers. It's just inside the box, a couple of feet inside, near the corner of the penalty area, and referee Kavanagh's had a look at it, pointed to the penalty spot. It could have been 2-0, but now a glorious chance for it to be 2-0.
Yeah, Aston Villa are just turning the screw. It was a great opportunity, a great bit of composure from Marcus Rashford. In the second phase, though, Villa kept it alive, and I'm just seeing the replay. Rodgers has made the most of it, hasn't he? But is there contact? I think there is, just on the top of his foot. There is.
It's from Jordan Storey, actually.
Yeah.
Jordan Storey stepped in and stepped on the foot of Rodgers. Yeah,
it's a penalty.
Good decision.
Yeah, correct decision, I have to say.
Yeah, stepped on his foot. It was just passed away by Rodgers, and he was late. Simple as that. Jordan Storey was late on it, stepped on the ankle, top of the foot of Rodgers, who went down, and it is going to be a penalty. Asensio initially had the ball, but I think he's given it to Rashford. There's Tielemans as well, who's a contender. At the moment it's Rashford who's got the ball in his hands on the penalty spot. Guy Cornell, having just been beaten, having stepped into this match in place of Freddie Woodman, is standing next to Rashford on the penalty spot. Referee Kavanagh sends him away. So yes, now for Marcus Rashford, a chance to score a second goal in the space of, what would that be, 4 minutes?
It's been a good 4 minutes for him. He scores the goal. He has a part to play in the build-up to the penalty being given. Now he's got a chance to cap it off with his second goal of the game.
Well, this very probably to put this FA Cup quarter-final out of sight for Aston Villa. Marcus Rashford standing right behind the ball. A direct run-up it'll be in front of the town end at Deepdale. Rashford, a little hesitation, and then right-footed, sends Cornell the wrong way. Finds the bottom right corner. Rashford with 2 goals, Villa with 2 goals. They are bound for the semi-finals, and it's Preston 0, Aston Villa 2.
And there's your headlines. Marcus Rashford with a brace. Can he go and get his hat-trick? That's going to be the question now. It's a really well taken penalty. He waits for Cornell to make his move. He dives to his right, and then Marcus just slots it away to his left. Really good penalty, full of confidence. That's a really good 5 minutes or so for Marcus Rashford in this game.
Well, there we are. The confidence has come back for Marcus Rashford, and now the goals have come back as well. And Paul Heckingbottom is going to respond to that by making certainly one change. As Will Keane is substituted, and Osmajic is coming on. Miljutin Osmajic, the let's call him a controversial figure. Osmajic, the Montenegro international, who is Preston's top scorer this season, 13 goals in all competitions. As Preston play the ball into the penalty area, so the number 28, Osmajic, is taking up a position in the Aston Villa box. He needs goals. He's been out with a hip injury before the international window, did ease himself back with 3 substitute appearances, but as you're probably aware, he's facing an FA charge regarding alleged racist remarks to Burnley's Hannibal Mejbri in February in the league match, and that spilled over, the ill feeling spilled over into the cup tie between the sides when Preston won 3-0 against Burnley, and you've probably seen the pictures where the Burnley players refused to shake the hand of Osmajic before the match, and actually he's been given an FA extension to respond to that, which is why he's available for this match, and now he's on the field, the number 28. Preston 0, Aston Villa 2, and I'm just checking, I think 5 minutes between the 2 Rashford goals. It was 2 goals in 5 minutes for Rashford, so he's on a hat-trick now, and here he is into the full-back position. Preston defenders getting back. Ramsey back to Rashford, important touch, took the ball to Tordarson, who turns on the edge of his penalty area. I mean, it was already an enormous ask, as we say, for Preston North End, but now you're talking about 1-2% chance of Preston turning this around.
Yeah, John, I'm just worried for them a little bit because the game's just opening up, it's getting stretched, and with the pace that they've got with Rodgers, Ramsey, Asensio with that quality in the 10 just behind, Marcus Rashford making them forward runs down the sides of the centre halves now, they're just starting to find them passes. It wouldn't surprise me if they go and get more goals in this game, it really won't. Yeah, they just upped it there, didn't they, with Rashford scoring the first goal, then Rashford setting up that chance for Ramsey and Rodgers. They didn't take that, but then Andrew Hughes stepping in on Rodgers' penalty. Rashford scores it, and 2-0 it is. In the WSL, another update from Crystal Palace Arsenal from Charlotte Richardson.
Half-time here, and it's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. Beth Mead's 50th league goal for the Gunners, and a composed strike from Alessia Russo has the visitors in control and set to return to second spot in the WSL. 2 punishing moments against struggling Palace, who've showed spirit but very little threat. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2.
Yeah, half-time's coming in those WSL matches. 4 of them were 2 o'clock kickoffs. We'll bring you the half-time news in a moment, but Villa give it away. Megoma has got a chance to come forward. First things first, though, for Paul Heckingbottom's team, they've got to get a goal and try and force their way back into this match somehow. Megoma bringing it forward, but Matty Cash goes in and almost John McGinn-like wins the ball back from him, and now Camara is being pressured by Freukier down into his own right back position. But the Villa supporters, it's them you can hear now in good heart. Many of them actually, or let me say a handful of them, have taken their shirts off in the Lancashire sunshine as the ball is cleared towards the halfway line, headed forward for Preston, bounces back for Asensio, Camara, then through the middle to Ramsey, and then a yellow card on the halfway line for the challenge that was put in as Villa broke away, and Ben Whiteman is yellow carded, so a free kick to Villa inside their own half.
It was a vital foul really from Ben Whiteman right in the centre of the pitch, because Villa again were on the attack with Morgan Rogers, I think it was, bursting forward. He had options ahead of him as well.
5 Live in the World Service. Alex Bruce with us, Premier League defender, FA Cup finalist, and we're sitting here at the back of the Sir Tom Finney stand, looking down on a splendid scene really. Sunshine, Deepdale packed to the gunnels, and Preston trying to get the ball away from the edge of their own penalty area, and they've lost possession. Jordan Storey is dispossessed, Villa knocking it around, groans. This is confident stuff from Aston Villa now with the 2-0 lead that they have, and the noise increasing coming out of the Bill Shankly stand to our left. Camara allows the ball to run. I'm not sure if he meant to do that, but it's worked anyway. That's what happens when you're 2-0 up, and it runs to Cash, and here is Camara now as he looks over his shoulder. His hair goes in all directions, and then Tielemans to Camara, who drags it away, and the ball's deflected out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line.
He's done well, Camara, in the middle of the pitch for Aston Villa. He's broke everything up. Him and Tielemans just sitting in there. They've competed really well against the Preston midfield, landed on all the second balls, had a really good game. I've been impressed with him.
I think he's had a very good season when I've seen him for Villa, and of course he can play in central defence, which he had to do on a few occasions, having come back from injury in the autumn after a long spell out. Half-time as well in the Brighton-Manchester City WSL match. Emily Herbert.
Yeah, Manchester City lead Brighton by a 0-0 at the break. Kirsten Kasparai putting City in front with a simple tap-in from 6 yards, set up with a cross on a plate from Mary Fowler. Brighton have looked dangerous on the counter though, with Nikita Paris and Poppy Patterson testing the City defence with shots inside the box. But it's advantage City at the break. It's Brighton 0, Manchester City 1.
And the other half-time scores is Osmajic has a little scurry forward, but Konza is able to clear that away. Villa leading here by 2-0. The other half-time scores in the WSL: Leicester 0, Tottenham 0. Rashford chasing this ball downfield. Jordan Storey is with him. The ball deflects for Rashford. Rashford's pass now lovely through for Rogers, shooting from the angle that Cornell, coming out, was able to throw himself into the path of it and hold on.
He's full of confidence, Marcus Rashford, isn't he? He's been the shining light in this second half in terms of his quality at the top end of the pitch for Aston Villa. That was a lovely slip ball through for a lovely weighted pass. Morgan Rogers just couldn't get his left-footed shot away for the Preston goalkeeper to save it. I'm a little bit concerned for Preston in the next 25 minutes or so here. Villa are really starting to turn the screw. They're having a lot of the ball. They're finding them forward runs.
They are, and Cornell making the save there to keep it at Preston 0, Aston Villa 2. Also Liverpool 0, Aston Villa 0 in the WSL. And in the Premiership in Scotland, one match today, which kicked off at 2:30. That is Ross County 0, Dundee United 0. Dundee United in 5th place in the table this morning. And we'll also keep you updated on the various rugby matches as well. We heard Matt Newsom and Ian Chisnell on the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Super League. Also Leicester Saracens is a 3 o'clock kickoff in the Premiership, so they will be underway shortly. Villa breaking through the middle with Jacob Ramsey, shoots and scores from the edge of the area. A strong run, excellent midfield play from the Villa number 41. Got to the edge of the box, and a sure right-footed shot flew past Cornell to his right, and it's Preston 0, Aston Villa 3 now.
I just said it, didn't I, John? I just felt as if there was another goal here for Aston Villa. They were really turning the screw, and this time it's Jacob Ramsey. He rolls his midfield player bursts forward, and from the edge of the box he gets off a lovely strike to the bottom left-hand corner. Cornell, no chance. I'm just seeing the replays. He takes it lovely on the back foot. He has one thing in his mind. He bursts forward and he smashes it right into the bottom corner. 3-0, game over.
Villa now in great voice here, watching their team return to the semi-finals of the FA Cup for the first time for a decade. We're going to see some changes now as well, and Tordarson is going to be withdrawn, I think, from the Preston midfield. At least he's making his way over to the far side. Villa making changes as well with all of the matches that they've got to come. Yuri Tielemans is coming off, John McGinn is coming on, as you suggested, Alex, and Asensio is also making way. He's not managed to get a goal today. Asensio just played a supporting role, and Morgan Rogers as well, so it's a triple change for Aston Villa. So Onana, Doniel Marlon coming onto the field as well as McGinn. Marlon, who is not on the Champions League list with all of the signings that Villa made in January. They had to leave someone off it, and Garcia, the right back, and Marlon are not on that list, but he's getting a taste of the FA Cup action.
Yes, he is, and Onana and John McGinn coming on as well. The triple substitution, it shows what quality Villa have got to bring onto the field of play. I'm sure the Preston players will look at that and think, oh God, bringing on the likes of John McGinn, who'll be full of energy, nice and ready to go.
Yeah, John McGinn, after Scotland's disappointment in the Nations League playoff against Greece, started both of those matches. So McGinn's onto the field. Doniel Marlon, the number 17, has taken up a position on the right hand side here, and with Morgan Rogers going off as well. Onana on into the midfield, and he's had his injury issues before the international window. He's not played in Villa's last 9 matches, so a great opportunity for Unai Emery to get him on in these circumstances.
Yeah. And what a nice time to enter the field of play. 3-0 up, he can go and enjoy it, get a good 20 minutes or so in his legs, ready for the upcoming games to make sure he's right.
Preston 0, Aston Villa 3. 5 live in the World Service from the BBC. 2 for Rashford, second of them from the penalty spot, and Jacob Ramsey there scoring. As I say, that's a classic burst from a midfielder, isn't it? And Preston just didn't do enough to stop him.
Yeah, any youngster watching the game tonight, when you watch it back and you see the highlights, the way he takes it on his back foot and he bursts forward and he finds the finish when he gets there, that little bit of quality that you need. Proper midfield players, attacking instincts to go and score a goal and get on the score sheet.
Whiteman plays the ball over the top for the white shirts of Preston. Onana now stands up strong, keeps possession, and Villa with Cash. It's going to be comfortable now, you would think, for the last 15 minutes of this match, or it should be comfortable. Just looking really for the classic professional display from Villa to just control the match as Ramsey plays it to Rashford, still on the field, still on the hat-trick, run into the penalty area. Preston had defenders back there, little deflection, comes to McGinn turns, gives it back to Onana. His shot is blocked at source on the edge of the box, and then Villa win a free kick. Osmajic in on the challenge, and it's taken quickly by camera. Referee allows him to do that, headed away. Preston were alive to it, cleared away on the edge of the box, but Villa back in possession again with Mings near the halfway line. Camera finds some space, that's ominous. His ball though to the edge of the area is again cleared away long downfield, and Konza is able just to tap it back to Martinez, who's had next to nothing to do in the second half after getting himself involved in whatever he could get himself involved in the first half, but he's just been standing there in front of all of those Villa supporters who will be going back to Wembley. Aston Villa. So I think we can say with some certainty now that it will be a Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa and either Bournemouth or Manchester City line up in the semi-finals. The draw is coming up shortly after the end of this match. Here's a long one for Rashford to chase into the penalty area, heavy touch, and he slides to try and keep it in, and he He did so, actually, put it out for a throw in the right back area.
What a great position for Aston Villa to be in, though, when you think about it. The quarter-final of the Champions League. Now they've got a semi-final at Wembley to look forward to. The Premier League season, still lots to play for. I think they're sitting 9th at the moment, 4 points off the top 4, so all to play for there as well.
Changes for Preston. Rees comes off, Ched Evans comes on, and also Magoma is being replaced by Liam Lindsay. So a double change. Ched Evans, who, having come back from injury this season, has yet to start a match. He actually had an operation on his neck. It was a sort of neck spine issue, so coming on as a substitute for the 7th time this season. The veteran, who with his past, you probably heard the Villa supporters booed him onto the pitch, but he is actually player coach here now, Ched Evans, under Paul Heckingbottom. So he is on, number 12, and also Liam Lindsay coming on for the latter period of this match. But Villa leading by 3-0, and I think anyone who had plans for Mothering Sunday later on in the day won't need to change them. I don't think we're going to see extra time and penalties.
Me being one of them, John.
Yeah, well, I
that's why you said it.
Well, I know, one only has so much time, don't they? And when you've been to Bromley and back with Salford yesterday,
I'll make the Chinese with my mum and wife tonight. They'll be happy.
As the ball is played down the line for Brady, who looks to cross it, but that was blocked by Onana, and Cash is able to win a throw-in for Villa in their own right back position. Yes, I was listening to Naughty Michael Brown last night, who was with Chris Wise.
Naughty Michael Brown? I can't believe that, never.
Yeah, who couldn't wait to mention the fact that producer John Southall had booked dinner in Brighton at 8 o'clock and with extra time and penalties had no chance of making it. I think he eventually got there at something after 9. I thought a man of his experience would have known that was tempting fate. Camera crossing the ball over towards the left-hand side, but there's a slip there by Digne. Preston could be in business. Osmajic, edge of the area, turns and shoots, but that was blocked by Tyrone Mings. Stabbed through into the box. Evans can't get there, and Villa have got it back safely in their own right back area. It would be a very interesting lineup, wouldn't it, if it would be Bournemouth joining Crystal Palace, Forest and Aston Villa. However, Manchester City, I suspect from 4:30 will have plenty to say about that.
It's a big game for Manchester City. Tough game as well, because we know how well Bournemouth have done this season.
Yes, although their form did drop off just a little before the international window. Andoni Iraola did a big sit-down interview with Guillaume Balaguer this week, which you can hear on BBC Sounds. It's got a special podcast all of its own on the Football Daily feed, which is where you will also find the latest edition of The Commentator's View with me, Alistair Bruce Ball, and Ian Dennis, with correspondence again from the British ambassador to Estonia this week, and I think he's been back on since we recorded Friday's edition, so more of that next week. Villa coming forward, but winning a free kick out towards the left-hand side for the challenge by Jordan Storey, so a free kick to Villa out towards the left-hand side. Villa going to make another couple of changes. Matty Cash coming off, so I suspect, yes, it is Andres Garcia, one of the January arrivals, who's done well actually when I've seen him. Andres Garcia coming on, so that's a straight swap,
and it's Marcus.
And Rashford also leaves the field. 2 goals to his name today, his first 2 goals in a claret and blue Aston Villa shirt, and he's cheered off the field, and he will feel much better about things after that. He's been on an upward trajectory, obviously got himself back into the England squad, got himself back into the England starting lineup, but this is what he'll have wanted, to get goal and indeed goals, and he's got them today.
I'm pleased for him. You know, he's had a tough time. We all know the everything that's said around Marcus.
Free kick taken in, and a chance straight away for Watkins. His first touch, having come on as a substitute, middle of the goal, 5 yards out. I think he did get his head to it, but couldn't direct it down and in. It went wide, and it's a goal kick.
He's got to score. It's a great opportunity. I know he's only just come on, but he's in the middle of the 6-yard box. It's a wonderful ball in. He just needs to make contact. It was quite similar to the Consul one in the first half. Doesn't quite get the contact right.
That could easily have been 4-0 3-0 as it is. So Ollie Watkins makes his return with these matches that Aston Villa have got coming up one after the other. It's relentless now, but they have just had this substantial break. 18 days since Aston Villa last played a match, although of course many of these players have been off on international duty. The Super League matches are underway right now. We're going to check in on Huddersfield Hull KR with Matt Newsom.
Yeah, and it's Hull KR, the league leaders, who have taken the lead in this one. Mikey Lewis was Teflon, they just could not put a hand on him, and he flicked a little offload off to Ollie Gildart, who touched down to the left of the sticks. Converted by Artur Morg, and it's Huddersfield 0, Hull KR 6.
Oh, another chance not taken by Ollie Watkins, who got away on the edge of the box. He managed to wriggle away from Jordan Storey from the edge of the area. Right foot shot. I thought it was bound for the bottom corner. Narrowly wide of the foot of the post instead, so it's still 3-0.
Fantastic chance again for Ollie Watkins. He's only been on the pitch for 5 minutes. He's had two glorious opportunities. It's that man again, Boubacar Kamara, in the middle of the pitch, though, where it comes from. Great little bit of play. Lovely turn in the centre circle. Runs forward, a little 1-2 with John McGinn, and slips Ollie Watkins through. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he just puts his shot just wide of the upright.
We're going to see now Paul Heckingbottom. He had to name a number of youngsters on the bench today, and he's going to give a debut in a match like this, an FA Cup quarter-final, to 17-year-old Theo Carroll in midfield. He's an attacking midfielder, the number 35, and I think that's good management, isn't it? The match is gone, everyone knows it, and there you are, 17 years old. See what you can do against the Premier League type.
Yeah, it's great to see a prospect come onto the pitch. It'll give him a valuable little bit of experience, even though he's on the pitch for 5 or 6 minutes.
And also Theo Maweni is coming on for what is only his second senior appearance, who is the son of Yul Maweni, who I'm sure many listeners will remember. Former Derby, Preston, Aberdeen central defender.
Played against him many times. Played against him many times. He wasn't a winger, he was a big strong centre half, if my memory serves me right.
He was, absolutely. And there is also, as Preston try an effort from distance, and I think it is the youngster, isn't it, Carroll, who had a goal for goal from 25 yards, but hit it rather weakly. And Martinez was, as Mark Lawrenson, a great figure here at Preston for many years. Mark, often seen at Deepdale, he would have said he could have thrown his cap on it. Preston 0, Aston Villa 3, and going back to Theo Maweni, there is another son as well, his brother Noah, who is on loan at Newport at the moment. So the Maweni dynasty now begins to grow in English football. 3-0 Aston Villa lead, 5 Live in the World Service from the BBC. We will continue to keep you up to date on all of the other sporting developments this afternoon. Still Ross County 0, Dundee United 0, but Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton will be back in harness together for 6:06. An earlier start for them at 5 o'clock, so 5 until 7 they'll be taking your calls on 5 Live, and that will include updates on Bournemouth against Manchester City. And then this mid-week we've got a whole string of Premier League commentaries for you, including Arsenal-Fulham on Tuesday night and Liverpool-Everton on Wednesday night, live from Anfield. So don't miss that. As I say, Aston Villa are at Brighton on Wednesday night. We'll have that covered as well. Preston winning a free kick just forward of the centre circle. We're into the last 5 minutes now, and we're entering consolation goal territory really for Preston in this tie. Free kick that is going to be taken by Robbie Brady. Ben Whiteman just wanders back alongside him. Villa will be wanting a clean sheet now. I'm absolutely certain about that as they coast towards what will be 5 wins in a row in all competitions, which is not a bad run of form to take into this schedule that lies ahead of them. Whiteman waiting. I think Brady left-footed in the yellow boots will hit this. It's headed across the goal, but I think actually was already out of play before it was caught by goalkeeper Martinez. Substitute Lindsay heading it across. So goal kick to Aston Villa.
Yeah, he's had nothing to do, Martinez, really, in this second half. I have to say though, for what he's not done in terms of making saves, his distribution with the ball at times when the ball's played back to him, the way he breaks the lines and finds that pass and sets Villa away when they've showed the quality that they've got in this second half, it's been great to see.
Villa breaks down for them, so Preston back in possession. Aston Villa, who have not won the FA Cup since 1957, which is far too long. When they won it back then, they won it for the seventh time and were at the time the record winners of the competition, but have not won it since. Back in 57 they beat Matt Busby's Manchester United in the final, which was the year before the Munich disaster, 68 years ago. But I suspect they and Crystal Palace, who've never won one of the major honours, Nottingham Forest, who've also not won the FA Cup since the 50s, I just feel that those clubs will be looking at Newcastle United and the way that they've enjoyed what they've achieved, and will be thinking, we quite fancy a bit of that.
It's a wonderful year for an outsider to go and win the FA Cup, that's for sure.
And then again, it might be Manchester City. Mings playing the ball back to Martinez, just controls it and then passes it out with a nice little bit of bend to Andres Garcia. Garcia gets it back from Marlon, infield from him, and again back to Camara. It's exhibition stuff now from Aston Villa.
He really has, Camara. Been excellent in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, very, very good player, this French international, just 25 years old. Now Onana, the tall, strong Onana, striding forward with the ball, giving it out to the left-hand side to Digne. And then the pass back towards the corner of the box. Little pass to Onana again, who will go back to Mings nearer the halfway line. 3-0. Preston, who have not lost at home in their last 15 matches, but as I mentioned, Arsenal came here in the League Cup earlier in the season and won by 3-0, and Villa have effectively done the same thing, the same scoreline, 0-0 at half time. In the Women's Super League, it is Leicester City 1, Tottenham 0 in one of those 2 o'clock kickoffs. And Marlon now, the shaven-headed former Borussia Dortmund man, Champions League finalist last season with Dortmund, keeps the ball centre field. Camara just economically gives it off to Onana, now to the left-hand side to Digne, who's having his shirt tugged by Mawani, and he's still having his shirt tugged, and then he wins a free kick out towards the left side. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to play, and Mawani is just trying to get under the skin of Digne, who just pushes him away with disdain. And there we are, a chorus of Que Sera Sera from the Villa supporters. The Doris Day classic, Alex.
They've enjoyed the day out, haven't they, in the sun. First half, I think Preston played well. The second half, the quality of Aston Villa's just shone through. I'm sure Unai Emery said at half-time, we need to show that little bit more quality in front of goal.
Digne with the free kick, which is cleared away by Mawani. Yes, the Nottingham Forest fans were singing yesterday, weren't they? And the Crystal Palace fans as well. I'm sure when Doris Day recorded that, she had absolutely no idea she'd become such a big thing in English football. Did Doris. Throw into McGinn inside the penalty area, works it back on. Shot from the arriving Ramsey was deflected across the face of goal. He was certain that was going to be fourth goal, a second for him, but deflected narrowly wide beyond the far post.
I thought it was nestling in that bottom right hand corner. He's played a little ball into the box, he's looked for the return. I think is it Watkin? No, it's McGinn who turns on it on the byline, finds the pass back to him, and he just gets his shot deflected just wide of the upright. Corner to Aston Villa in this bottom right hand corner of the pitch.
Yeah, another corner for Villa, coasting through, 3-0 up. Preston supporters in the town end now beginning to head for the exits. I see gaps appearing there as the corner is played over for Villa by Digne, and the referee spotted an infringement in there, and it's a free kick to Preston. Back to Huddersfield, Hull KR in the Super League. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, Huddersfield are on the board. It's for Huddersfield 4, Hull KR 6. We've seen the very best and the very worst of George Flanagan. Won a brilliant solo run, stood up the fullback and scored, and then he completely shanked the conversion. So it's Huddersfield 4, Hull KR 6.
In the WSL, Liverpool have taken the lead against Aston Villa's women. That's 1-0. As Villa play the ball back to Martinez, who clears it out of play into the Sir Tom Finney stand down in front of us. To the other Super League match, also 3 o'clock kickoff. Ian Chisnell
Wigan Warriors 4, Salford Red Devils 0. It took the champions 11 minutes. The line break came from Junior Nsemba, and Jake Wardle galloped in from 15 yards. Harry Smith hit the post for the conversion. Wigan 4, Salford 0.
3-0 to Aston Villa here. Leicester 0, Saracens 14 is the latest score in the 3 o'clock kickoff in the Rugby Union Premiership, and Villa with a free kick in the middle of the Preston half that Camera is looking to take. We'll bring you interviews as well, Unai Emery and whoever else Aston Villa give us to speak to, as Camera plays the ball to the edge of the box, which is headed away by Lindsay on the edge of the area. We are into added time now at the end of this FA Cup quarter-final, when Aston Villa are about to celebrate. 2 minutes of added time, so time is almost up, and Aston Villa, Alex Bruce, have done the job.
Yeah, they have. I was just saying there before that this second half they've just shown their quality, haven't they? I'm sure the manager said at half-time they need to move the ball a little bit quicker, find the forward runs. They've certainly done that. There's the final whistle. Job done. A really, really professional performance from Villa. I'm sure the manager will be happy with it on the whole of the 90 minutes. Preston put up a fight in the first half, but Villa's quality shone through in the end.
Yes, lots of positives for Aston Villa. It was 0-0 at half-time, but 3 goals in the second half. Marcus Rashford on the score sheet for the first time in an Aston Villa shirt with 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes. The second of them a penalty, and a very good run and finish from Jacob Ramsey as well. Means that Villa have won 5 matches in a row now, either side of the international window. It's a very good start to this congested spell that's coming up, but what a season they could have. An FA Cup semi-final now to add to their Champions League quarter-final, and their position in the Premier League, where they still have a chance to force their way into the top 5 in the table. But first and foremost today for Villa, into the FA Cup semi-finals for the first time for 10 years, and Preston's FA Cup run is over. Preston 0, Aston Villa 3.
All of the players right now just milling around the centre circle, few shirt swaps going on. The Aston Villa fans away to our left-hand side, just getting ready for the Villa players to come over to them so they can show them some love, and that's what's happening right now. Aston Villa players, claret and blue. I can see a massive smile on the face of Tyrone Mings, who's just throwing something at one of his teammates as they make the way toward the Bill Shankly stand. That's where the Aston Villa fans are. You probably hear them getting slightly louder as the players come toward them. There's Onana over on the far side, who's just giving it the old not yet, and then punch the air in front of the Villa supporters, who give him and all of their players a big round of applause. We'll talk about, Alex, the opportunity that Villa have got and all that kind of stuff, but just on the game that we've just watched, I mean, that was very comfortable in the end, very.
Yeah, it was. I think Preston put up a fight in the first half. They frustrated Villa. Villa didn't move the ball quick enough. Once they got a grip of the game, though, and they started to find them forward runs, the pace of Rodgers, Rashford, for example, they couldn't live with them, Preston, in the end. And the quality shone through. It was a really comfortable performance, some really good performances. Marcus Rashford will do him no harm playing as that 9, that central figure, to go and get his goals. Really good place Villa are in, and you can see why, because they're a good team, got some good players.
Boubacar Kamara's over there right in front of the fans as well, number 44. He is special, isn't he?
He really is.
He's one of those players who, speak to any Aston Villa fan, he's the guy they want to talk about. If you don't see them every week, he's one of those who can be slightly underappreciated.
Absolutely, and I can imagine his centre-halves really appreciate him as well. The job he does just in front of the Tyrone Mingses and the Conces when they play there today, he mopped everything up. He was on every second ball, and when he lands on it, he's got that quality to find the pass, and he does it continuously, over and over again. He's a competitor. He put in a proper performance.
K. Sarraz again from the Aston Villa fans. There's been another try at Huddersfield. Matt Newsom.
Yes, Huddersfield for Hull KR12, and it came from the wickedly sidestepping Mikey Lewis, just twinkle-toed his way through to touchdown. Artemore converted. It's Huddersfield 4, Hull KR12.
I can see Marcus Rashford's just down on the pitch. Hopefully we will be able to hear from Marcus Rashford very, very shortly. What we'll also be doing very shortly is bringing you the draw for the semi-finals. And look, we keep saying it, Alex, because it's true. And it's true partially because of the season that Manchester City are having. We'll talk more about them later because, of course, they've got their own FA Cup quarter-final coming up at 4:30 as well at Bournemouth. But the opportunity for Aston Villa and for Crystal Palace and for Nottingham Forest, it's massive.
It really is. And the way this season's gone, it wouldn't surprise me if you see an upset down at Bournemouth. It'll be a tall order, because we know if City do well and turn up, then it'll be a difficult game for Bournemouth. But we know how difficult they can be at the Vitality Stadium as well. So it'll be a good cup tie down there. And for the teams that are left involved, what a fabulous opportunity to go and win some silverware. They've seen the Newcastle go and do it with the League Cup, and all the celebrations from them yesterday. Can a Forest, can a Villa go and repeat the process?
Be interesting to see. I think we're going to hear from Marcus Rashford shortly. Be interesting to hear what he's got to say for himself, because I thought with England, I thought we might get the chance to speak to him during the course of that week, but as far as I'm aware, certainly we didn't get a chance to talk to him. I thought it might have been a good chance for him to explain how he is, how things are, what he's thinking, but they decided not to do it then. And he, as far as I'm aware, he's not done much with the outside media, that he has spoken today.
Do you know something with Marcus? I'm just pleased. He looks like he's slowly turning himself round. The confidence of getting called back into that England squad, the goals that today playing as a 9. We know he creates headlines. He's had so many stories wrote about him. I think sometimes less is more, and just do your talking on the pitch, and he's done that today.
Yeah, and I think it's been great right from the outset. Steve, do you remember when we saw him at Villa Park?
Oh yeah.
When he played the first match, he came out of the tunnel. He was on the bench, wasn't he? But he came out of the tunnel with a smile on his face.
And that's what you want to see.
And he smiled all the way down the touchline. I think Thomas Tuchel was probably good for him as well. I think Tuchel will have had it in his mind that, okay, Anthony Gordon was injured. And that probably played a part as well. But I think for Tuchel to say, right, come on, I'm England manager and I'm going to give you a go here in this team, that can only have helped.
Show him some love. Every footballer loves a little bit of love from the manager, your coach, whoever you're working for. And I think with Unai Emery getting a hold of him, obviously Thomas Tuchel with the England setup, everybody likes to feel wanted, and Marcus with a smile on his face, we know what quality he's got. He's a handful.
I get the impression, Alex, about Marcus Rashford, linking into what you were just saying there about England duty, that he is very, very much the kind of player who is only really interested in talking when there is something about his football that he would deem worthy of talking about, if that makes sense. If he's scoring goals, he's happy to talk because he's happy to talk about what he's doing on the pitch. If it's not that, I always get the impression that he doesn't really fancy it.
Yeah, he was the focal point at Manchester United. He seemed to be the fall guy, and I can understand why he thought that, but that was because of the standards he's set in recent years. We know what he's capable of. But to carry the can on your own, we've spoke about obviously the situation at Manchester United. The headlines were often around him, so I can understand why he didn't say too much. There was question marks over his personal life, the way he was living his life, going out too much. But it's always nice to see someone turn it around, and I really hope for Marcus's sake he can keep playing with a smile on his face, keep enjoying his football, and just simply show everybody what a good football player he is.
He's also had to play under a lot of different managers in a relatively short space of time, which isn't good for anybody, but especially when, for whatever reason, he seemed to become the face of Manchester United's problems. That will have probably weighed heavier on him than anybody else.
As a Manchester lad, of course it would. And I think when football clubs go through difficult periods like Manchester United have, you can sometimes be the brunt of that, and I think Marcus was in certain stages of the season with the results the way they were. But he's had the chance to wipe the slate clean. He's gone to Villa. He started his time at Villa very well. Just keep playing your football and keep scoring goals.
Hopefully we'll hear from Marcus Rashford very, very shortly. We'll also be bringing you the semi-final draw in a second as well. One thing I thought, John, was interesting about Rashford is your stat there about his last goals. He also scored 2 in that game, didn't he, against Everton? And I remember that, because it was on a Sunday, the discussion was very much, that's Rashford back, that's his confidence back. So it will be really interesting to see if now is different.
Well, he made that very good start under Ruben Amorim, and the feeling at the time wasn't it, that Amorim would be good for him, but that very quickly fractured. And as we said at the time when he came to Villa, I think the warning bells were there that it wasn't as if he'd just fallen out of favour with one manager. It had been repeated, and as again we said at the time, if there is a manager who could get the best out of him, would that be Unai Emery? And It's still relatively early days. It's only 10 appearances for Villa, but I think the signs are that man Emery is getting something out of him that others have not.